Right, so yeah, I'm just off that race right now. I'm still riding a bit of the high. That was a bit of a carnage race. If you're wondering what race, you know what race. It's the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And I just wanted to offer my thoughts. I've checked a bit of Twitter, but not too much. Before I get into seeing any of the post-race penalties or anything, I wanted just to express my thoughts on Max and Lewis's races there. Because that was a mess. And I honestly think that both of them should probably get some punishment for it. So where do we start? First one, we had pretty clean racing, to be fair. Pretty decent racing until Mick Schumacher bins it, red flag comes out. But before the red flag comes out, it's a safety car for about 2 laps. Most drivers pit, but Max doesn't. Now, if I'm honest, Max got lucky there, yeah. But it's exactly the same as what Lewis did in, I think, Imola when he repairs his front wing, and in Silverstone where he repairs his front wing. And Lewis obviously complains because what are you if you want an F1 driver that complains? It's just what they all do. And so Max gets the free pit stop. He gets to start first this time. Now, second start, Max doesn't get as good of a start. Oh wait, no, I've missed a bit. Because first, before that first restart, I think it was, Bottas backs up way more than 10 car lengths back, which is by definition in the FIA's law an offence. It's a penalty. Sebastian Vettel, 2010, Hungary, backed up Webber, I think it was, so he could get the pit stops. And it just turned out that he then got a drive-through penalty, which is an equivalent to a 25-second penalty. It was very harsh that time, yes, but that was before they had 5 or 10-second penalties. So I'd say now it's maybe a 5 to a 10-second penalty. But yeah, that happens, and people are not happy about that. I'm not happy about that. I think stick to those rules that you've set out. And then Lewis does exactly the same as Max is sitting in grid slot 1. He also backs it up. That is another 5 to 10-second penalty by the book. And it happens quite a lot now. I'm not going to say it's just Lewis that does it, right? I'd say anyone who's seems to be starting second or third seems to do it, but it was egregious the amount that these two were doing it in this race. I mean, you watch it, they got to be like 20 or 30 car lengths back. It's not good. But yeah, after that, they go down to the first corner. Max goes outside, Lewis inside. Max goes off the track, cuts the corner, has to give Lewis a place back, but Ocon manages to get into second ahead of Lewis. Then, about 10 seconds later, Perez crash, boom, red flag again. It's Saudi Arabia, what did we expect? Of course it was going to be a red flag fest. So then Red Bull do the right thing, I think. And it was really weird, the fact that Massey kind of gave them the offer to do the right thing, but I guess it's the same as what they do on the track. And they picked to start behind Lewis, so it's Ocon first, Lewis second, Max third. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So then going into the first corner, again, another restart. I'm surprised they were still doing standing starts at this point, considering the track. And what happened this time? Max got an amazing start, went down the inside. Lewis and Ocon touch. Ocon makes it through, gives the pace up to Max, and yeah. But Max is on mediums and Lewis is on hards. So Max has a lovely time trying to get to the end here. So at this point, we've got Max in first, Lewis in second, because he just gets past Ocon, but Max is on the mediums, Lewis is on the hards, but Lewis is looking faster. And we have, Lewis probably should have had some sort of a penalty for backing up, but it happens a lot. So I'm not going to get too egregious on it. Red Bull probably should if they want the championship, but I'm not going to. So then, at one point, a little bit later on, there's virtual safety cars. There's a lot of them because Sebastian Vettel gets bullied. Literally bullied. Like Yuki Tsunoda hits him, Kimi Räikkönen hits him. It's all very sad. But then Hamilton is catching Max. Lewis is catching Max. And he was catching him, but then losing him in the first sector. Now, luckily for Lewis, thanks to the plethora of VSCs, because the Aston Martin was literally falling to bits, Lewis managed to get within that DRS distance of Max after the first sector, managed to keep it through the lap, and managed to pull off some sort of an overtake. He pushes Max really far. He goes down the inside up into turn 1. And like we've seen with a lot of F2 races recently, the two that happened yesterday and not really the one that happened today because it didn't really happen. But like we saw with the two that happened yesterday, the person on the outside always ends up cutting that corner. Now the person on the outside has then the right to give it back. And this is where it gets mad. Max gets quite far ahead actually. He gets a little bit ahead and he's like, I've got to give this place back. So going down toward turn 27, quite a long DRS straight, he knows that there's another DRS straight after the corner where he could probably get Lewis back. So he slows down, and he slows right down. And this is what I do not get from Lewis, because Max is slowing down. The thing is, he is slowing down the racing line, and that can be seen as not great. Alright, but let's say Max was broken down at this point. The onus is then on the driver to, behind, react, turn. You have good reactions as a racing driver. You don't just stay behind them. If you've got a virtual safety car, it appears on your screen on your steering wheel. So turn, go round. At that point, he'd be in the lead anyway. He doesn't need to care. But instead, he just sort of stays behind, keeps going, and then Max sort of jams on the brakes a little bit more, which is another little thing. I don't know whether he realises Lewis is right behind him. He's probably wondering, where the hell is he? Why is he not flying past me now? So he jams on the brake a little bit more. Bang. Lewis straight into the back of Max, and Lewis only just damages his front wing. Max seems to not take too much damage, though I don't know. His car dropped a lot after that. I don't know whether that was the tyres or the damage. But yeah, I don't get why Lewis didn't just, go round. So Lewis hits him. Max takes off because he's like, what the hell is that? Is Lewis like spinning out behind me probably? I think that's like a racing driver's instinct, is just leave the scene of the crash. There can be anything happening behind me. And Lewis keeps going with a slightly broken wing. Max is told again, let him by. So Max lets Lewis by. And then re-overtakes him about 10 yards later, which isn't allowed. At this point, it's carnage. Max is in the lead, Lewis is behind. Max then gets given a 5-second penalty for not letting him by, though he would probably argue, first off, I tried to let him by and he crashed into me. Second off, I let him by and then re-overtook him. If we take that second off one, I think Lewis did that, God, I can't remember when. Lewis did that at some point and then re-overtook someone and got a penalty for it. Albeit it was in the days of the 25-second drive-through penalties being like the lowest penalty you could get. So that was a bit harsh. So yeah, I think the 5-second there was justifiable for Max. Apart from the fact that Max then lets Lewis through again a lap later, and I can't remember whether that was after or before he got that 5-second penalty. Because if that was after he got the 5-second penalty, it's understandable that he got the 5-second penalty, and then it's like, why would you let him through? Just keep racing. If it's before he got the 5-second penalty, then he has the argument that he let him through. Yeah, it's a bit of a lot. Lewis pulls away, Max's tyres seem to be dying, and Lewis wins, Max second, and then Valtteri pips Esteban at the line. Bottas beats Ocon by about hundredths maybe, and that's all said and done. Yes, there's a lot of carnage. I think personally, Lewis should have probably got 10 seconds for the backing up, 5 or 10, one of the two. Max deservedly gets the 5 seconds. And then this, I think Bottas probably should get, if Lewis is getting the 10, then Bottas should get the 10. Ocon's now on the podium. But then we get to this hectic thing, which is Max breaking up and Lewis ramming in the back. This is the hardest thing to judge. For me, Lewis is the one who's on the onus to kind of, go round. Because Max could be breaking down. His gearbox was already not great. Could have lost that completely. If he then can't, drive, he's going to slow down. Would Lewis still ram in the back of him? But yeah, I think at that point, I would really just say to both of the drivers, both maybe 10-second penalties each for both of those, it was really not good. But it turns out for me, and there was a bit which I'd also missed where Lewis runs Max wide, but considering Max did the exact same thing in Brazil, just the opposite way around, I'm not gonna get too fussy on that. Yeah, it was carnage. If I was the FIA right now, I would probably disqualify both of them because that was shocking, cheating, dirty driving from both drivers, right? Disqualify both of them. 10-second penalty to Valtteri Bottas. Give Esteban Ocon another race win. And then I think it'll be a Ricciardo podium as well. And we get a shoey. A shoey in Saudi... Did they even do drink in Saudi Arabia? I don't even know whether they had rose water at the F2 podiums. A shoey of just Daniel Ricciardo's foot sweat. So yeah, that's my thoughts on what is just a carnage of a race. I've waffled on a bit. I'll edit this down a little bit because it is now 12 minutes. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We've not got many more races. In fact, we've got one more, and right at the moment, until I check Twitter probably and I find out Max has got a 3-place grid drop or something, they are level on points and they're probably going to be starting 1-2 next race. So let's look forward to that. Bye.